So in the Lewis model, we're representing valence electrons with dots. The valence electrons are the most important ones for bonding. They're on the outside of the atom. They're on the outer edges. They're in the highest occupied energy level, and they're very loosely held. So when we talk about a Lewis symbol or a Lewis electron dot symbol, we show those valence electrons as dots around the element symbol. So let's draw the Lewis symbol for oxygen. We'll start by writing the chemical symbol for oxygen. So the symbol for oxygen is an O. How many valence electrons does oxygen have? 6. We know that because it's in group 6A. So those A-lettered, 1A, 2A, 3A, up to 8A, those are very useful numbers on the periodic table because we don't really need to think about electron configurations. Just look at the group number. So oxygen has 6 valence electrons, so we need to draw 6 dots. So I'll put 1 up there and 1 over here and 1 there and there. And so I've got 4, and now I'm going to make some pairs of electrons. Okay, so there's the Lewis symbol for oxygen. As a convention, the way we place the dots is a maximum of 2 per side. We're going to put them singly at first and then pair up as needed. And we do this for convenience, really. It's a little bit like looking at dice, right? We recognize the pattern of the dots on the dice, and so you don't have to count the little black dots to know it's 6. You play Monopoly with a kindergartner, and they haven't figured that out yet. It's really tedious because they have to count all the dots. It takes a while. Challenges your patience. By putting a maximum of 2 per side, just like with the dice, we can just look at it, and we don't actually have to count. We can just see how many there are. Atoms that have 8 valence electrons are particularly stable. And we call 8 electrons, 8 valence electrons, an octet. Just like in choir, 8 people singing together is an octet. An atom that has 8 valence electrons has an octet of electrons. Helium is the one exception. Well, helium is one exception. It only has a duet, 2 electrons. Helium only has 2 electrons, and they're both valence electrons by default. But that first energy level can't hold anymore. Helium's not big enough to be able to handle 8 electrons, so he's happy with 2. So what we call the octet rule is that atoms will tend to transfer or share electrons to achieve an octet of valence electrons. So what I say is that atoms are happy, they're more stable, if they have 8 valence electrons. And so when we write Lewis structures, we're trying to arrange the electrons so that all the atoms can be happy. You've heard that you can't please all the people all the time, right? But in Lewis structures, you can make all the atoms happy. So that's kind of fun. Let's see. That's a new section.